Gibraltar is a limestone outcrop that forms a peninsula extending from the southern coast of Spain. It's the most recognisable of all the UK overseas territories. A massive outcrop called the Rock that's been strategically important for 1,300 years. Gibraltar was settled by the Moors. This is part of the original fortifications they built here. But the Spanish recaptured the Rock in 1462 and expelled the Moors from Iberia over the 15th century. Then, 300 years ago, Gibraltar was ceded to Britain in perpetuity in the Treaty of Utrecht, and the Rock has become a strategic outpost and military icon. Around 32,000 Gibraltarians now live on the Rock. They have existed as a community for longer than the United States has been American. And during this long history, they have built a proud heritage and even their own dialect based on Spanish, but with influences from many other languages across the globe. The connection of Gibraltar to the United Kingdom is strong. 2 referendums in recent decades established that around 97% of the Gibraltarian people are in favour of remaining a UK overseas territory. And so the link remains. The Rock of Gibraltar has long been seen as an impregnable fortress at the entrance of the Mediterranean. The Rock itself is peppered with cannon tunnels and fortifications from the 18th century. And Gibraltar played a key role in the Battle of Trafalgar, both for mustering the fleet and for after the victory. The epic battle decisively crushed Napoleon's fleet and was a key step in liberating Europe from the Emperor's domination. And it was here where many of the dead from the battle were brought ashore, including the body of the slain Lord Admiral Horatio Nelson. Today, Gibraltar's military role has waned, but it's now home to a thriving city, and it's a popular tourist destination. The modern city is nestled amongst the old castle and defensive walls. But the Rock of Gibraltar is renowned across the world for its Barbary macaques. Today, around 150 macaques live on the Rock, forming 6 troops. The macaques here are Europe's only wild primates. Up to 800,000 tourists visit the Upper Rock to see the macaques each year. And the macaques sometimes venture down into town, curious to explore the human world. But the relationship is quite harmonious, especially considering that Gibraltar is less than 7 square kilometres in size. For such a small area, the diversity of life on the Rock is incredible. Over 500 species of plants occur on the Rock of Gibraltar, including around 4 plant taxa and many invertebrates that occur nowhere else on Earth. And much of the upper slopes of the Rock itself survive in a wild state, with extensive wildflower communities. These rich areas are important points on the route for migratory birds, as well as many birds of prey. Many raptors, such as this peregrine falcon, are found injured or exhausted and are rehabilitated in a specialist facility on Gibraltar for a release back out into the wild. Countless birds migrate to and from Africa via Gibraltar because the distance across the narrows of the Mediterranean is just 21 kilometres. Gibraltar's strategic location was also realised by the Victorian military. They installed a colossal 100-ton supergun, which could fire at targets across the straits and even hit targets on the African main. During World War II, the strategic importance of the Rock was not lost on the Allies. An immense presence was built up here, and the Rock played a key role in enabling the North Africa campaign and the liberation of southern Europe to take place. The Nazis had a major operation planned to seize Gibraltar from the British which thankfully never came to fruition. For if the rock had fallen, the entrance to the Mediterranean would have shut, and the course of the war would certainly have played out very differently, and probably even more bloodily. 52 kilometres of tunnels within the rock were excavated during World War II, more than all the roads on the entire peninsula of Gibraltar put together. As Winston Churchill ordered the construction of a fortress within a fortress, such was the importance of safeguarding this key stronghold. But a mysterious dimension of Gibraltar's World War II history has only just been discovered. A few years ago, a secret passage was found within the tunnels inside the rock. The passage leads to a secret chamber that was excavated deep within the rock itself. But this is no ordinary chamber. The floor was lined with cork, and the walls were plastered, both special designs to absorb sound. This was a top-secret project by the British forces. In the event the Nazis captured the rock, a crack team would be deliberately bricked up inside the secret chamber to live here silently and for years behind the Nazi lines. At the end of one of the tunnels, there's a narrow slit cut through to the outside world with a direct view onto the Spanish port of Algeciras. This would allow the secret stay-behind team to quietly watch enemy movements and radio out reports so that the Allies could know the exact location of the enemy fleet. Rumours of other undiscovered World War II secrets of the rock add an enticing mystery to the place. Many of the tunnels and the natural caves are home to colonies of bats. The bats are studied by local conservationists who survey the population and monitor the bat numbers. But the greatest secrets to Gibraltar's caves have been discovered only recently, here in Gorham Cave. In 1848, one of the very first Neanderthal skulls was found on Gibraltar, even before discoveries were made in the Neander Valley in Germany. The skull was studied by Charles Darwin, who concluded it belonged to an extinct species of human, the first recognition of other types of hominids in our world. Over the last few years, amazing discoveries have been made in this cave. Stone tools and ash from the hearths of the Neanderthals have been found, along with remains in other parts of Gibraltar. It's now known that Gibraltar was the last stronghold for Neanderthals, one of the last places where the species survived after it had died out across the rest of its range. And in 2014, a groundbreaking discovery was made here. This engraving in the cave wall may be the very first evidence of Neanderthal art, and the very first evidence that art itself, as a high expression of abstract thought, is not exclusive to our own species. Exploration of the cave is still continuing. Who knows what this mysterious time machine back into the world of Neanderthals may reveal? It's humbling to think that Gibraltar has been Moorish, Spanish, and British for 1,300 years, but it's been a stronghold for Neanderthals for over 100,000 years. The importance of this outcrop truly transcends even our own species. Gibraltarians today are very proud of their history and heritage. The biannual reenactment of the Ceremony of the Keys sees the traditions of the rock kept alive. The rock has remained secure for the last 300 years, and its unique community, surprising wildlife, and diverse heritage will have an even brighter future in the years to come. The Britain's Treasure Islands book explores the unique wildlife, cultures, and history of all of the UK overseas territories. Visit britonstreasureislands.com for details. In sincere thanks to Lord Ashcroft for funding the donation of 1 copy of the Britain's Treasure Islands book to every secondary school across the UK and her overseas territories. Thanks also to all Kickstarter backers and all sponsors and partners for making the 40 mini-documentaries possible.